The butt wipes I have in my bathroom are scented, and the scent is nostalgic in a way to where it reminds me of rubbing lotion on a red-headed girl. Now every time I take a poop, I think about rubbing that red-headed girl and her entire body in cherry blossom lotion. Yo, roll the intro music.
Who is that nasty?
Zach will kill you and fuck your bitch.
People pay $1 million for one drop of my sperm.
Okay. Hey, all you pussy motherfuckers and anybody alike. What's up? Second week, I'm back on my schedule, and I'm excited. And if you were paying attention, that is a new intro song, or little intro, Getty, whatever you want to call it. It's a little intro that I made. I wanted something a little more original, and even though my last intro was copyright free, royalty free, and I purchased it, if you look at the fine print when you sign a contract, because when you buy a copyright song, you sign an agreement with the producer, the person who made the song, or the person who owns the song, actually. Read the fine print, and it'll say, at least mine said in there, that I can't use that piece of audio for anything profitable. Basically, it didn't say those exact words, but that's pretty much the cut and dry of what it said. So I don't plan to make any money from my podcast, probably for a lifetime, but just in case, I have my own ass covered. I wanted to put together something that was a little more original. So that's what you get. So I hope you like it, because that's probably what I'm going to be using for a while. So I got an agenda today, not for the podcast, but for my day. So this podcast won't be very long. I just wanted to hop on like last week, tell a quick little story. Hopefully that suffices until I get my shit together. Anyway, the world is going crazy. If you guys don't listen to Joe Rogan, you need to go listen to Joe Rogan. Because right now, in this fucking pandemic of bullshit that we're having in the world, Joe Rogan is actually bringing people on his podcast who are experts and that could give you something a little more than, what am I trying to say? Something a little more than Facebook. Okay, I see a lot of people taking all their information or getting all of their advice from Karen on Facebook. You know what I mean? And that is just no. Don't believe anything you read on Facebook. It's all stupid. It's all bullshit. And anyway, something else I wanted to jump on since I said Karen. Did you know there's a group of women, literally a huge group of women, who consider the word Karen? It's a name. Karen is a name. Now, we all know that if you call someone a Karen, they must be, kind of uptight and, not really minding their own, and they want to, butt in everybody else's business and kind of be the party pooper, is basically what a Karen is, right? There's women that you have to, I might put the link for the video down in the description if I can find it, but there's a video of women saying that calling a white woman Karen is the same as calling a black person the N-word. So there's this comedian that has a great bit about it, and it's pretty much what I'm going to say. If you're comparing two words like Karen and the N-word, did you notice what I did there? I said Karen. I didn't say the N-word, and neither do you. Ladies that think those two things are the same. If you're saying Karen and you won't even say the other word, my bet is that the other word is a lot fucking worse. So anyway, yeah, if you run into any of those women in real life, find the closest sharp object you have near you, and please shove it in their anal cavity as hard and as deep as you can. Anyway, now I'm not inciting rape, or am I? I don't know. Anyway, I've talked about before living with one of my mom's boyfriends, Sid. And I talk about him, I think, in one of the first episodes where I talk about getting released from child prison. Oh, God. Where I get released from child prison and basically I go to live with one of my mom's boyfriends named Sid. And he has like a trailer out in the woods on a nice piece of property. Not really any neighbors except for, a mile down the dirt road and shit. So it was nice having privacy and a big yard to play in for that brief time when I was 14. So we had all this property, and the trailer sat like pretty close to the dirt road, right? But we had a big privacy fence around almost the entire property. So I would sit on the porch and take bong hits a lot of the times because I didn't have any friends and there was no, Facebook or anything like that back then. So I was just, stuck with my thoughts and my bong. So I'd sit on the porch in the summer all the time, just taking bong hits, doing what a stoner kid does. And there would be these two girls riding up and down the street on their quads all the time, like every single day after school, I'm assuming, because it was around 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock every night. So they'd ride their quads up and down the dirt road all the time, just kick up dust and everything like that. And my mom mentioned about me talking to them a few times, like she would give me shit, and she said she would always tell me I should go out there and talk to the girls and invite them inside and shit like that. But first off, no, it's embarrassing where we live. We did not have it good. Like, I have a story about almost starving to death in that trailer, but that is true. We didn't really ever have food, hardly, in the trailer. I mean, if we wanted food, we just went and stole it from Albertsons or Safeway or something and ate it right there. But it was embarrassing, my living situation. I didn't really have it that great, you know what I mean? I didn't have the fanciest clothes or the fanciest things, or I didn't really have anything in general. I had, the clothes and shoes that I had, and that was pretty much it. And my long hair, because I fucking loved my long hair. And my bong, that's it. I didn't really have possessions back then, so it felt really embarrassing for me or I didn't feel like I could invite those girls over or invite them inside, you know what I mean? They'd be like, look how this guy lives, even though I'm a kid, I can't really help that, at the time I couldn't. So I didn't want to. And there was a lot of time that went by, a lot of time that passed where I would just, I would smoke on the front porch, or I would open the gate and go sit out right alongside the dirt road up against our fence. And I would just watch them drive by, and they would speed by and kick up dust and stuff like that. And there was a couple times they stopped, and they stopped and they'd whisper to each other, and then they'd pull off laughing and giggling, girl stuff, little girl stuff. And I remember one day my mom's ex-boyfriend Brandon came over. Fucking pussy. I got stories about him too. I got 2 funny ass stories about Brandon. So look forward to that, because I call him Hot Dog Thumb. And I'll give you the story on why I call him a Hot Dog Thumb another time. But Brandon was over, and he came over because he just wanted to smoke pot. And my mom was like the bearer of weed but it wasn't hers. She would come home and just give me tons of weed all the time. And Brandon knew that, so he came over early in the morning, one morning like 7:30. And he was like, yo, let's get high, let's smoke. And I was like, all right. So I smoked him out. I think we smoked a couple bong bowls, and then we smoked a couple bowls out of the pipe. And man, just really quick, man, I have not smoked actual flower in a while. I kind of miss the mechanics of breaking down the bud, putting it in a pipe or a bong, and using a lighter. And instead of nowadays, I just heat up a glass bucket. I know if you don't smoke, that sounds weird, but a teeny tiny little glass bucket on my bong, I just heat that up, and then, I smoke dabs, basically never touching flower ever. So I need to get back on that shit. Side note. But anyway, he came over and we got like super duper high. And I guess he couldn't handle being so high because he passed out. And I was bored and I was just chilling, and he's like, man, if he gave me his car keys or his truck keys. He drove a macaroni yellow Ford F-150 with like one of those yellow hazard lights on top, like he worked or did something, but that fucker didn't do shit. And so he handed me the keys. He's like, if you can figure it out, you can drive it around the backyard and stuff. And I was fucking hyped. I was like, hell yeah, nobody lets me ever drive a car really, so this is sick. So I went out to the truck, and it only took me about 10 minutes to figure out how to get it started because his ignition was like fucked up or something like that. But it took me 10 minutes to realize that the key doesn't go in the ignition, and that's what he wanted me to think. He wanted me to think that I needed to put the key in the ignition in order to start the truck. I threw the keys aside, and you just turn the ignition, and it just starts on its own. Just like an old like Ford Bronco or something, like a late 80s, early 90s Ford Bronco. After a while, you just don't need your key anymore. So I got it started, and I was like putting around the backyard because we had a huge backyard. It was the backyard without trees. We had a big area that was just open grass without any trees. I'd say that area was probably about an acre by itself. So I had a big area to drive around in. And I was just putting around the backyard, going up and down the little hills. It was an uneven backyard, but I was just going up and down the hills. And then eventually I got a little cocky and I started doing some donuts and stuff and speeding and, sliding into corners and shit. And Brandon came out and he just like throws his hands up, and I roll the window down, or I stop and I roll the passenger window down. He's like, I guess you figured it out. And I was like, I guess so. And he's like, just be careful and have fun. And I was like, all right, deal. And we had this little dirt trail that went from the actual gravel driveway. It went off the side of the actual driveway and went around like we had like 3 or 4 sheds or something, buildings, and it went behind them, and then it led to the bottom of the backyard. And I fucking started to think about it, and I was like, man, I'm gonna go drive on the dirt road. And Brandon's passed out anyway. Fuck that guy. Hot dog thumb having ass. So I'm gonna drive. So I pull up, I get in the driveway, and I get to the edge of the driveway where I'm about to pull on the dirt road, and I got nervous, like my heart started beating a little bit and shit, because I hadn't really ever done that without permission. I've only taken someone's car once without permission, and that was when I was like 8 or 9. Me and my friend stole his mom's car and drove it around the trailer park. But that's for another time also. I pull out on the dirt road, and my first few times going up and down the road, I did, I only went like 30, 35 miles an hour, just normal speed, because I wanted to see what the rest of the road was like. I had never been to the end of the dirt road, so I drove to the end, and it turns out it's just like a little fucking dirt cul-de-sac of nice homes. And so I would just turn around and go down and drive back another like mile and a half to the end of the dirt road where it meets with the regular cement paved road. And I would, do a little U-turn on the cement, come back, and then go back down. And I did that, for like 45 minutes, just having a good time, You know, being a kid, super high, getting to drive in the summer. I got my arm hanging out the open window and, you know, listening to some classic rock, AC/DC or something was on the stereo or on the radio. So it was a vibe and it felt amazing. And then once again, I started to get a little cocky and I started to, you know, pick up my speed a little bit. So each pass I would go up and down the road, I started to get a little bit faster. And I started to get to the point where I was going like 80, 90 miles an hour because I was comfortable. I knew the turns. I knew when the turns were coming. I knew the road. And I pretty much figured no one was driving on this road anyway because I would drive up and down the road for an hour and a half and not see a single car come by. So I thought I was good. And so I'm driving up and down this dirt road, kicking up all sorts of, you know, dust and rocks and all sorts of other shit. And I'm doing like 90 miles an hour down this pretty much one lane dirt road. I mean, when another car is coming the opposite direction, you really got to pull into the sticks. So I go to the end of the road and I flip. I do like a pull, a hard pull, almost like I do the e-brake. I flip it. Do like a 180. I didn't crash the truck. That's not what I'm saying. It sounded like I just said that. I slam on the brakes when I get to the end of the road because I'm doing like 90 miles an hour and I grip the wheel and turn it really hard and I do like a 180 degree spin and like perfectly in line to go straight. So I take off down the dirt road again, start getting pretty fucking fast, 75, 80, 85, 90. And then I see this white car come around the first turn and I was like, fuck, this is the first time I've ever, you know, bumped into another car driving like this. What's about to happen? So they, you know, they're coming and I'm still going 90. I'm like, at this point I'm dedicated to going 90. There's no point in stopping. I'm coming up on them really fast. So I was going 90 really fast. Sorry. My brain, bro. I've been smoking too much, I guess. My brain. Anyway, I was dedicated to going 90. I just kept going and they passed me and I get a glimpse. Like I look to my left and get a glimpse of their faces and they just are looking at me with like disgust. Like, what are you doing on our road? And I didn't stop. I kept going. I went to the end of the street, came back, turned around, and I kept doing it for a while. And a few more neighbors came and went, and until enough people probably saw me where they're like, yeah, there's a kid driving up and down the road in a truck. So it was such a long time ago. It's hard for me to remember the exact details of who snitched to who, but somebody told somebody I was driving up and down the road like a madman. And they didn't think I was even old enough to drive in the first place, which they were right. I was only 14. But they didn't know that, fuckers. So, somebody told somebody. My mom talked to me about it, and she was like, why didn't you just run him off the road? And we wouldn't have to fucking deal with this. I was like, yeah, you're right. So that's the type of person my mom is. If you're going to tattle on her son to her, she's not gonna fucking care. Or if she does, she didn't back then. You know, we were all on drugs and we were all like out of our minds. So she didn't give a fuck. And she was like, you want to go some more? Who fucking cares? Pretty much. So that was that. And I don't know why I told that story. Anyway, those girls. Back to those girls, right? I think that was just part of it. Anyway, you'll have to forgive me. I'm all over the fucking place this morning. So, anyway, one day I'm sitting out on the dirt road smoking. I think I'm just smoking a bowl out of a pipe. And the girls are riding up and down on their quads. And my mom eventually comes out. my mom wasn't home that often when we lived there, but she was this day. And I was just chilling, minding my own business, hanging out, vibing. And my mom comes out and she's like, I want to talk to those girls. And I was not having it. I was like, no, don't do that, Mom. I do not want to talk to these girls. I just want to watch them ride by, whatever. And my mom gets out in the middle of the fucking street, starts flailing her arms everywhere, makes these girls stop, makes them get off their quad. And then I start getting embarrassed. So I'm like, fuck this shit. Because it was kind of early in the morning. It was like 8:30, 9 o'clock. Because this was midsummer, when after they probably were out of school and everything. And so it was like July, really warm, early morning. My mom is flagging down these girls in the middle of this road where they're riding their quads. I'm sitting there watching it all happen. I can't believe this is happening. I'm so embarrassed. I go inside. I tell my mom, I'm taking a shower. So I go inside and I take like a long shower. I try, to take my time and wash every fucking strand of hair. One by one. And so I get out of the shower. Everything's good. I kind of forgot about what had happened. I mean, I was in the shower for a while. So I walk out. And this is a single wide trailer. If I didn't mention that, it was, it's a trailer. So the bathroom is at one end, and my mom is sitting there on the couch that I used to sleep on when I lived there. I didn't have anything but a couch. And to fucking make matters worse, it was a love seat. It wasn't even a full-size couch. Motherfucker, I was like 5'11", 5'12" when I was 14. I had to bend my knees to my chest. Anyway, so I walk out of the bathroom with a towel around my waist. Nothing but a towel. And there sits my mom with these two girls, a little blonde girl and some little brunette girl. And they're just staring at me, smiling and talking a little bit amongst themselves. And then they all turn and look at me when I walk out. Sorry. And I was kind of like, what the fuck is going on? And my mom's like, hey, buddy, come here and talk and all this other shit and blah, 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 blah. So, I come out there, I put some clothes on, which was weird because I had to like put clothes on in front of them and kind of get dressed in front of them because my clothes literally just sat behind the couch on a table. I didn't have shit. So, I put my clothes on and everything, and we talk. Me, my mom, and these girls talk amongst ourselves for a while, and I'm starting to like it. I'm like, okay, cool. I actually got people my age, or what I assume to be my age, that I could, probably hang out with now and, do stuff with. So I was starting to feel it. I was like, this is cool. I'm not so upset at my mom anymore. And, so we're all like, just talking and everything, and then we make our way to the porch outside, and we're just fucking with stuff and talking, and my mom brings something up, or no, the blonde girl says something, and she says her last name, and my mom like looks at her and she's like, what's your last name, sweetie? And she says her last name, and my mom like covered her mouth, like her jaw dropped, and she like covered her mouth. And I'm like confused. I'm like, what the fuck? And mind you, before all this, the entire time these girls are at my house, my mom is like shoving me and this blonde girl together. She would have her hand on my back, another hand on her back, shoving us two face to face, chest to chest, dick to pussy. What the fuck are you doing, Mom? That's what I was thinking. What the fuck are you doing? But she did that. She was trying to force us together. She didn't want her son, to be alone, living out in the woods. So here comes my mom with a girl, a perfect match mate for you, honey. You will marry and have lots of blonde-haired children. But that's not what happened. So after the girl told my mom what her last name was, my mom asked her, well, do you know this person? Blah, 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 says the name and last name. And she goes, yeah, that's my mom. My mom's like, your mom? That's my sister. So, if you see where this fucking story's going, my mom, for a half a day, tried to force me and my underage cousin to get together. Now, mind you, my mom didn't know when she was trying to push us together that we were related, okay? None of us knew. But after finding out and then going through your head and you're like, damn, my mom just did that all day and she's my cousin. And not only is she my cousin, I was 14 at the time. This girl, the blonde girl, she was 11. I'm gonna take a moment of silence really quick. She was fucking 11, bro. 11 years old. And my mom was trying to squish us together to fuck and do all sorts of other stuff. Oh my God. What a mess. Oh, it's embarrassing. I don't like telling people that story a lot, especially now that I live in Missouri, because I'm afraid I might offend some people because they'll say, oh, well, what the fuck is wrong with that? Say, oh, nothing, man. I'm sorry. I'm not a cousin fucker, dude. Well, what's wrong with fucking your cousin? Need to keep the bloodline strong. Look at me. I'm watching Game of Thrones and I'm already talking about bloodlines being strong and shit. Yes. I've been trying to get into Game of Thrones. Shout out Shane. But anyway, yeah, that was super embarrassing for me. Only being 14 years old. Kind of, you know, staring at this girl every day for a long time as she rides by, you know, and you know how young boys are, especially just young boys, full of testosterone and everything. And after figuring that out, dude, I wanted to fucking hang myself. It was so embarrassing. And a really embarrassing part about it was we all figured it out. We're family. My mom's like, oh my God, you're family. She like runs over and hugs her. And she's like, looks at us and she's like, I can't believe I wanted you guys to fuck. And I'm like, damn, dude. Whatever. What if she wouldn't have been my cousin though? And she would have just been 11. Like, what if she would have never said her last name? Would I have figured it out eventually? Would I have figured out that she was 11? Even though she did not look 11 from my memory. Oh, God. I hate telling that embarrassing ass story, man, but it happened. And I think I'll remember it for a long time. Because I'm emotionally scarred from that. Anyway, I got some shit I need to take care of this morning. I hope you enjoyed that cringy, embarrassing story of how my mom almost got me to fuck my 11-year-old cousin. Thankfully, I figured out before it was too late, and yeah, I'm happy now. So we're all good. I am never gonna make any mistake like that again. Well, one, I'm a grown man and I get my own women. You hear that, Mom? You need to quit setting me up with my cousins, goddammit. Anyway, I got an agenda for today. I gotta go pay some bills. I got a mob out to Otterville. So anyway, I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. I hope you enjoyed letting me yap in your ear holes for a little bit. This went on for about 30 minutes. Not bad. Average. But we don't like being average. We like being above average over here. Right. So anyway, go tell your mom that you love her. Go tell everybody that you love them before they all die. Because that is the truth. We are here now, but soon enough we will all be dead, rotting corpses for the earthworms to nibble on for an eternity. Anyway, I hope you guys have an amazing Friday or Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Sunday, Saturday, whatever fucking day it is. I hope it's awesome. Until next time, this has been Zach Stupid Fucking Nasty. I hope you guys have a great day. I've said that 4 fucking times. I need to slap myself in the fucking face. All right, guys. Peace the fuck out.